Okay guys, you can see I am logged in. If I click on shop and add this product in my cart, you can see product added to the cart. And if I click on this cart icon, you can see here we have one product in our cart. If I click on this proceed to checkout, so here you can see we have cart summary and we are not seeing image. So we need to fix this. What we will do, we will just move in our cart page. Here you can see we have this cart page. Okay, and here you can see we have images. Localhost 4000 slash upload slash images. Okay, this is the image for our cart, but still we are not getting this image. Let me see what is the problem here. HTTP localhost 4000 slash uploads. Okay, so we just need here, let me do this correct. Okay, this is our cart summary. If I click, you can see here we have is address. We can select any address, and here if I click on this add new address, we can add new address. So we need to create schema for this address and order, because user can place order. But before that, here we are not getting the image. So let me see what is the problem here. Called, if I click on this single detail page, okay, this is working fine. So let me open my detail page. This is our product detail page, and here you can see we have this src means source. I just copy this, and in our cart I will replace this source with my source here. And what we will do here, item dot images of 0 index. It means it will fetch the first image. Okay, here you can see we have images, and here we are not. Okay, we are on the checkout page now. So for checkout page, you can see here we have checkout page, and here we have this image. So we don't like image this. We will use backticks here, and localhost 4000 slash uploads, then forward slash item dot images of first index. Now you can see here we have images. Okay, we have here image. This is our cart summary, and here we need to store our address, because user can store his address to deliver the address. Okay, let me come back in my VS Code, and I will just close all these files, and inside this model I will use address.model.js. model.js. This is the model for our address. Let me just copy paste address model, because I have already explained to you how we can create model and schema. So you can see here, this is our address model. This is address schema variable, then user, because every user have address, so that's why we are referencing here user model. Okay, then name, email, city, country, zip code, and state. These are the fields of our schema, and timestamp true. After that we have here address model, and after that we are exporting this model. Okay, this is done. Now we need to create one more model for the order. So for that I will use order.model.js. This will be our order model. Let me just place my address order model. Sorry, here this is my order model. You can see here import mongoose from mongoose. This is order schema, and here we have user, means every user can place orders. So order will have user field, which will be used to fetch the user data for a specific order. Then here we have items. Inside item we have object inside the array. You can see here we have product, and type of product is object id, and we are referencing this product collection. Okay, I hope you have got this point. Product collection means product model, and we have quantity of product, and price means total price of the product. Then we have address. This address is coming from here. You can see we have already done our address model, so that's why we are referencing here address model. And there is payment method. It can be cash on delivery or online. Default it will be cash on delivery, and here will be total amount. Status will be pending, processing, shipped, delivered or cancelled, and default will be pending. Okay, here we are creating a model and exporting the model. Okay, this is done. Now let me create one controller for the address. It will be address.controller.js. Okay, this is done. We will just import our address model like this, and we will use here now functions, API functions, to store our address and fetch the address. So let me just I will just import user also. Import user from user model, and this is the function to store address. You can see here export const add address and name, email, city, country, zip code, state. These are the fields of our address model. Okay, you can see here we have all fields. So we are getting this requested body, and here we have id. So this id will come from request.user. Okay, means only logged in user can store his address. So this is the idea of logged in user. Here we are just creating one object of our address model. Sorry, we are okay, we are creating object new state sorry, we are creating just variable, and we are here creating our address. And after that we are just finding the id of specific user, means logged in user, and push the address in address field. So here we need to store the address field also in our user model. Okay, let me clear this to you. We have our user model, and inside this we will use addresses field. So let me just open my model. Here we have user model, and after password I will use this like this. Okay, what it will be, it will store the address of a user. I hope you have got this point. We need to do this. Please keep in mind this is mandatory. Okay, this is done. After that what we need to do, we just sending the response to the user. Okay, this is done. After that we have one more function to get the address of user. Here you can see we have export const get user addresses, and this is the idea of logged in user. And you can see here address await address.find and user. This user is the field in our address model, and this user will be references at logged in user. Okay, and here we are just sending response. This is done all for the address controller. Here we just need two API functions, one for to store the address and one for to get the addresses for a specific user. Let me just close this file, and here we will create a route file. So here we will use address.routes.js like this. And let me just copy and paste here our address route, because it is very easy, so we will not spend more time here. Here you can see we have express, then is auth is imported from our is auth middleware. Okay, it means logged in user. Okay, then we have add address, get addresses. This is the controller functions. After that we have here address router, which is equal to express.router. Then we have an endpoint to store the address.router.post method will be post, and slash add is auth add address. Is auth means only logged in user can add the address. Then we are getting the address of logged in user. You can see here get addresses. This is done. Okay, this is done. Let me just see, is there any error? Okay, our terminal is clear, we don't have any error. Let me just copy this address router, and inside this index.js we will just duplicate this product router, and I will replace this product router with the address router, and here we will use address instead of product. So this is done, and I will just duplicate this path slash API slash product, and after that we will use here address. Sorry. So you can see this is done. So our address module is completed successfully. Now it's time to complete our order modules. You can see here we have in models we have order model, so we need to create order controller. Let me just create controller here. It will be order.controller.js. Controller.js. This is the controller of our order. Now let me just order controller. I will just import here order model from our model file like this. Okay, this is done, and here we have need here function to place an order. So let me just do here. Okay, I will explain this function to you. This is the ID of our logged in user. Okay, and here we are destructuring the items, address, total amount, payment method from request.body. Okay, after this if we are not address, then we will show this error, and if we don't have any item we will show this. And here we are just formatting our items. You can see here formatted items, items.map. These items are coming from our body items.map, and inside this we have single individual object which is item. So here product will be item underscore id, quantity will be item.quantity, and price will be item.offer price. Okay, so this is done, and here we have order. You can see await order bottle.create, user will be id, and item will be formatted items like this, and this will be address, this will be total amount, and payment method will be this. So payment method will be our cash on delivery by default. Okay, this is done. After that we just need to get the orders for user. So this will be the function get user orders. It means only logged in user can see his order. This is the ID of logged in user, and here we can see we have orders, and await orders.find. This is the ID of logged in user. Then populate items.product. Here we will fetch item name, price, and product. Populate method is used to get the data of related collections. Then populate address. It means it will fetch all the address. Okay, this is done. Then we have get all orders. It will be show to admin. Here you can see we have get all orders, const orders is equal to await order.find. Then we have populate user, populate item.product, and populate address. Okay, this is super easy. I hope you have got this point, and let me just apply here one more function, which is change order status. So you can see here update order status, const order id. It will be from request.parameters, and status will be request.body. and validate status is equal to pending, processes, shipped, delivered and cancelled. Okay, beside of these status are not acceptable. You can see here we have also check invalid status. Okay, then we have orders model await order dot find by id and update. Here we will store order id, then status and new will be true. Okay, if not orders, then we will just show this response, otherwise this response. Okay, so this is done. Our order controller is successfully done. Now let me just close this controller and model file, and here we will use create new file order.controller.js. Oh sorry, it will be order.routes, not controller. Let me just rename this order.routes.js like this. Okay, order routes is done, and I will just copy and paste. I am just copy pasting because you know these how we can create our order routes controller and model. I am just explaining to you. It will save your time. Here we are just importing our auth middleware, then admin middleware, then these are the function we have just created in our order controller. You can see here we have 4 functions. After this we have order router, and you can see here order.router post slash place. It means this route is to place the order, and only logged in user can place order. That's why we are using here is auth, and here we have place order, then order router dot my orders is auth and get user orders. Here we have order router dot get, then slash all is admin, then get all orders, order router dot put status order id and is admin. It means only admin can change the status of the order. Then we have this function. Let me just open. You can see this is opening. Okay, this is done. I will just copy this, and inside our index.js we will just duplicate this order address router, and inside I will replace this address router with the order router, and here also we will use order like this, and I will just use API slash order like this. Here we will use order router. Okay, this is done. We have completed our backend of our application. You can see here nothing is remaining, just we have remained our online payment method. If you want online payment method, please comment below. I will just upload the video for online payment gateway. Let me just close all these files like this, and inside our front end you can see here we have our checkout. This is our checkout, you can see, and let me tell you. So here we have add new address. When user click on this add new address, he is just redirecting his own address, so he can store his address here. So we need to call our API here. You can see this is our add address, and we will just use here Axios in our add address. We will use Axios. Okay, Axios, and we will use navigate. We are already navigate, and here we will use loading and set loading like this. Okay, and here we have form data, set form data. This is done. After that, this is handle change, and inside this submit handler we need to call our API. We need to call here our API. So let me just do here set loading. First of all, we will use set loading. Set loading will be true. Okay, after that we will use const data like this await. We will use this async await axios.post like this. okay, slash API slash address slash add, then we will use your form data. Okay, I hope you have got this. This is super easy. Then we will use if data dot success, like this. If data dot success, we will use toast, and we will navigate to slash checkout page again, like this. Okay, this is done. In else, here we will use else statement, and we will use here toast, like this. And here we will also use toast, and it will be error dot response dot data message. So this is done, and we will use finally bullock, and inside this family finally we will use set loading true. Okay, and here we will use ternary operator. If loading, we will use here please wait, like this. Sorry, here we will use question mark, like this. Okay, if I come back to my browser and just I will use here this address. If I click on this add address, you can see unauthorized. Okay, so let me just log in again with my email and password. Okay, so let me just inspect what is the problem here. Okay, let me just create a new account. Here I will just create a new account, and it will be Salman. Email will be salman@gmail.com. Password will be 12345. Sign up. You can see user created successfully, and here we will use Salman. Password will be 12345. So you can see logged in successfully, and if I click shop and add to cart, then if I go there, then proceed to checkout, and inside this click on this add new address, and here we will use this address. If I click this add address, so this is unauthorized. Okay, let me check what is the problem. In our backend, address controller, here we will use this ID, like this. Okay, not here. We will use this in our add address here, like this. Okay, now let me just try again. Unauthorized, and here just cut from here, and we will use here hi. We will see that our request is coming on. Okay, so you can see we don't have any hi message. It means we are not coming in our controller function. So let me just check my routes. This is our routes, and here we have address.routes, and here we have address.post is auth. So let me just use is auth again, is auth from this middleware. Okay, and let me just open index.js. This is slash API slash address, and if I click this, you can see here we have slash ap slash address, but we are using here product router, but we need to choose here address router. This is the problem. That's why I think we are getting the issue. You can see here address router. Now we have done great. Now if I click on this add address, so you can see added address successfully. It means our address is stored successfully. Let me open my MongoDB Compass and I will show you the our address. So please wait for a minute. This is our MongoDB Compass. Let me open this. Okay, this is my compass. Let me connect this, and here we have grocery store. You can see this, not this. We have this grocery. Okay, and here we have addresses. If I click on this, you can, okay, this is my other database. We have this grocery store, and inside this we have this addresses, and here you can see we have address. We have just submitted this address. Okay, it means we are getting the address. Let me just create one more address, and we will use here country USA, and it will be, I will use state Washington. Okay, this is my dummy address just, and here we will use, I will use rock. Okay, and we will use any email like rock@gmail.com. okay, if I click on this add address, our address is stored. If I open my MongoDB Compass and click on this refresh icon, so you can see we have another address. So I hope you have got this point. So what we need to do now, we need to fetch address here, and here user can select his any address to deliver the order. Okay, to receive the order, sorry. Okay, this is done. Let me just open again checkout page. So here is our checkout page, and here we will just call our API to get the address of user. We will use Axios, and here we need to do what we need to do. We need to here make some API request, but let me just do const fetch address is equal to async, like this. We will use try catch like this, and here we will use const data is equal to await axios.get slash API slash address and slash get not all. Let me again check. Here we have just get not all, so we will use here get. So this is our API endpoint, and we will check here if data.success. You can see here if we have data.set_success, then we will use set address, then data.address. Set address is already there. You can see here we will just remove this default value. Okay, so this is set if address, if data.address, then we will do this, and we will check if data.address.length is greater than 0. We will create here one new state variable to select our address. Okay, let me just create one new state variable here below this address. You can see here we have const selected address, then set selected address, and it will be by default address of index 0. It means it will use the first address of our user, means our logged user will be used here, means our address of our user first address, it will be by default selected. You can see this is the initial value will be the first address. Okay, So we will check here if address. After that we will check here if data dot addresses, if data dot addresses like this dot length is greater than 0, then we will use here set selected address will be data dot address of 0 index. First index will be selected. Okay, so I hope you will get this point. Okay, this is done, and in else we will use console. Log to the data dot message. Okay, sorry, we have just make one mistake. We need this if inside this, if like this, if data dot success like this, and here we will use console data dot message. Okay, this is done. Here we are just using this state to store our selected address. Okay, this is done, and after that we will use here inside this log like this. After that we need to use your use effect. Let me use your use effect, and this use effect will run on whenever our application load. So we will check if user is available, then only fetch the addresses, fetch address like this, and here we will pass dependency array, which is empty dependency array, and we will use here user. So let me use user from our store. Okay, this is done. You can see it is now correct. Okay, after that we will just come below, and here we have, you can see here we have address. This is our select box for address to store the address. You can see here this is our select box. Let me just copy paste here my select box. We will just change this to dynamic select box like this. Here you can see this is our select box. Here we have some classes. This is the value is selected address. We have just created this state. You can see here we have selected address, then select selected address. Okay, it means value will be selected address, and on change will be set selected address e dot target dot value. Okay, this is done, and here we have address dot map item. Inside this we have single item, and we are using option. Key will be item dot id, value will be item dot id, and here we are just showing the all address, then like item dot name, item dot email, item dot city, item dot country, item dot state, and item dot zip code. And this address is coming from our this state, and here we are just, you can see, setting the address in our fetch address. I hope you have got this point. Let me just open my browser. Here you can see we have browser, and I will just use, you can, okay, let me just inspect this, and we will check in our console. This is our console. Here we have address.map is not a function at checkout, you can see. Okay, so let me just refresh this. It is still saying address.map is not a, okay, address.map is not a function, it says. Let me just log in. Okay, I am already logged in. If I click this shop page and add to cart, proceed to check. Okay, here you can see we are just data dot address. We are setting data dot address, and if I open my controller of address, and here you can see we have this. We don't have any here we have get user address, and here we have addresses, not address. We can see addresses. Let me just copy this, and I will just use here addresses, not address, like this, because we are sending response in addresses, not address. Now let me just check this again. Let me console address here. Like this. Okay, set address is data dot addresses. Okay, let me just comment this. Okay, and here you can see we don't have any address. If I do like this, slash API slash get address, then get, and here you can see we have two addresses now, like this. Okay, I just removed here. From here I have used user. Okay, if I just clear this and uncomment again this, Control S. So here now you can see we can see addresses. This is first address and this is second address. Okay, you can see this is done. We can change your address and we can add also new address from here. Okay, this is done. Now it's time. Okay, what is the problem here? It is still saying address dot map is not a function. What is the problem here? Let me just do it like this. If address is available, if data dot success, we will use this. Okay, and I will console here address. Let me just refresh this again and see what is the problem. Here we have address, but here we have nothing. Again, console.log data. Okay guys, we have got the problem. The issue was there, set address and set address. I was just using like this, it's string, but we have an array, so we need to use your empty array like this. Okay, now it is working fine. You can see we can select any address. Okay, this is done. Now we need to handle this payment method. So for that we have, you can see, payment method and set payment method. You can see here payment method, set payment method, and we will just use this. You can see here we have payment method. This is the payment method, COD and online. Okay, it is done, and I will just now call my API to place an order. For that I will use here const place order is equal to async like this, and we will use try catch here, and I will use like const data is equal to await axios dot post. I will use slash API slash order slash place like this, and we will pass here our data. So our data will be like this item, and item will be cart. We will use here items, and we will pass here cart like this, and we will use here address, and item will be selected, it will be selected address. And after that we need to use here total amount, and it will be like this. We will use here total amount, and it will be get cart total like this. And after that we have payment method. So these four data we need to send out to our backend: items, address, total amount, and we will check if data.success. We will use here if data.success like this. We will use here toast like this, and we will navigate to slash my orders, navigate to my orders like this. Okay, we will use else statement also, and in catch we will use this. Okay, and we need to here use we need to place just this place order our button. So I will just check here, this is our button on click. We will use here on click like this. We will use place order. Okay, this is done. Type will be submit. Let me just open, and you can see here if I this COD, this is place order. If I click on online, this is pay now. So I will use with COD, and this is our address. If I click on this place order, you can see no items in order because we don't have any item in our cart. Let me just add this, and if I now go here, you can see we have quantity of 2 and price is $4. Total will be $8. Proceed to check. This will be my address rock, and this will be cash on delivery. You can see here we have cash on delivery. If I click on this place order, so you can see order placed successfully. Let me open my MongoDB Compass. So let me just you can see here we have orders. If I click this, you can see here we have orders. This is the item array, and this is address, payment method, total amount $8, and status is pending. Okay, this is done. It means we are doing right. Now we need to fetch our data in users. You can see user can see his own data. This is the dummy data, static data. We need to fetch here original data from backend. So what we need to do, we need to just close this and also address controller, and let me open here my orders. You can see here we have my orders, and we will just use here axios like this. We will use here Axios, and we will use here state variable. So this will be our state variable, const my orders and set my orders, and we will remove this my orders because we don't need now this was dummy data, and we now fetch our dynamic data. So we will use here const fetch my orders, like this, and we have to be async. We will use try catch like this, and here we will use const data is equal to await axios dot get, and here we will use slash api slash order, then my orders slash order slash my order, like this. Okay, this is our API endpoint. You can check in our routes. So we will check here if data dot success, then set my orders will be data dot orders like this, and in else statement we will use here console dot log to the console. We will use here data dot message, and I will just copy paste this inside this, and it will be error dot message like this. Okay, this is done, and we will use here use effect, and you can see here we have use effect. If user is logged in, then only fetch my orders this, and we will use here user, and we need to here use effect. We will import use effect, you can see like this. Okay, now if I go below, so here you can see we have date, total amount, method status. We just need small changes. I will just tell you how we can do. You can see here we have 4. I will just replace with these. You can see here we have order ID, amount, payment status, and date. You need to change these, and here we will use grid code 5 like this. Okay, this is done, and in my orders you can see here we have UL tag, then my orders dot map, and here we need to do some changes. So I will just change this UL. Don't worry, I am going to explain you each and every point. So this is my UL. I have done bit changes, so I will just remove this so you don't get confused. Here you can see we have UL tag, and in UL tag we have my order state. Then we are just applying map method. Inside this we have individual item, and this item is a object. Here you can see we have list li, and here we have key property. Then we have this div. This div is similar to the previous one, and here we are using p tag. Then we are just using here item ID, means order ID. We are just slicing. This is super easy. Then you can see here total amount. We are just using item dot total amount. This is the total amount of our item. Then we have payment method here. Then you can see we have status batch. If status is equal to pending this color, processing this color, if shipped this color, and if delivered this color, if cancelled this color will be available. Okay, this is done. After that we have this created at, it means new date, then item dot created at dot to local date string. Okay, this is date. If I open my, you can see this is my order. Let me just inspect what is the problem here. So here you can see we have use state not imported. Let me just use use state because we are using here use state. Let me just here import use state. This is the use state. Okay, now you can see here we have, okay, this is done, but we are not showing the address. Why? This is my orders, and we are not showing orders. Let me just here log to console. we will use here dot data. And if I check my routes, this is the order route, and here we are using my orders, you can see. Okay, slash ap slash my orders. Okay, data dot orders, you can see now this is coming. This is our order id, and here is the amount, and here is COD, cash on delivery payment method. Total amount is this, status is equal to pending, and date is equal to this. Okay, this is done. Now let me just fetch this on the admin side also. Let me just log out from here, and I will just log in as admin like this, and you will use admin123 password. Okay, this is done, and here you can see we have this orders. We need to just change this. So for that we will just use, I will just copy this state and function fetch orders, and I will just go in pages, then admin, then here you can see we have orders like this, and I will just paste here. This is our fetch orders. We will use here xuse like this, and we will use here use state, also use effect like this. Okay, we don't need here my orders because we will now use here dynamic orders. I will just remove this, and here we will use fetch orders, not my orders. Okay, and let me just change here fetch orders, and here we will use admin because this is the admin dashboard. If admin is logged in only, then this use effect will run and order will be fetched, and here we will use admin from our store like this. Okay, instead of my orders we will just use here orders. Okay, orders, then set orders like this, and I will just map this orders, not my orders. You can okay, just keep them my orders. Okay, you can understand this is the admin dashboard, so these orders are for admin, and here we will use slash API slash orders. And what is the route for this order for admin? Here the route for admin is all. This is all. Okay, this is done, and here we need to change some, so let me just change this. Here you can see we have, I will use okay, here I will use grid call 6 like this. Okay, and I will replace these div with this. Here we have name, email, address, amount, payment method, and status. Okay, then here we need to change this UL tag also. Okay, so let me just do this. We actually don't need here UL tag. Okay, so let me just tell you. I will just remove this UL tag. I will just here use div tag. So here you can see we have orders, not orders. We will use my orders, then we will use here my orders dot map. So here you can see my orders dot length is greater than 0, then we will apply map method on my orders. And here you can see this is the order ID, which is the key, and here we are using the p tag, item dot user dot name, item dot user dot email. Then we have this address of user, and here we have total amount, then we have here payment method. Okay, this is done, and here you can see we have the value item dot status and on change. So let me just tell you this later. First we need to check here. You can see here we have option to change the address: pending, processing, shipped, delivery, and cancel. Okay, so these values should be matched to our model. So if I open my model, You can see here this is our order model, and here you can see we have pending, processing, shipped, delivered, cancelled, and these are correct. Okay, let me just open. You can see here we have this all orders in our admin dashboard. This is the name of the user, this is the email, this is the address of user, and here is the total amount, and here we have payment method, and here we have status to change the status. Okay, this is done. Let me just now implement this change status functionality. So for that we will use here one state variable, so it will be const status and set status like this. We will use here use state like this. So by default it will be pending, you can know. Okay, this is done. Now we need to change here what we need to change. We need to call here our API to change the status. So let me just do this. Actually we don't need this status state, we just need to call here our API const. We will use here update order status. Order status is equal to async like this. We will use try catch, and here we will use const data is equal to await axios dot post slash API slash order like this, and we will use here status like this, and here we will use we will use here put method, not post, and here we will use backticks because we need to pass here ID. So we will use here ID, so ID will be from this ID and status. Okay, and this here will be here we will use ID like this, and after that we will use here status. So we will pass ID and status in our API, and this will be go to the backend. Okay, this is done. Now we will check if data.success. You can see if data.success, then we will use here fetch orders again. So let me use here fetch orders because it will fetch the order with the new status. Okay, then first we will show here toast like this, and here we will use else statement post.error, and here we will use error.response.data.message in our catch statement. Okay, this is done. You can see. Okay, what we need to now do, we just need to place this update order status in our select box, which is our this. You can see here we have already on change update order status. We need to pass here two things, ID and status. So this is the item dot underscore ID, and we are using here t dot target dot value. It means we are just passing the status. Okay, and this status where is coming, this status coming from our item. You can see here we have item, then item dot status. So this is done. I hope you have got this point. Let me just refresh this, and here you can see the now status is pending. If I just click this processing, so you can see order status updated. If I check here and refresh this, so you can see this is the processing, and if I click this to shipped, so you can see order status updated, and again if I check this, you can see this is shipped. Okay, now this our admin part is done completely. Admin can change the status and perform all necessary actions. Let me just log out this, and you can see here we have this just let me, this is our user and it is logged in. Let me click on this my orders. You can see here, here is the order of our logged in user. Let me just log in the user here. Our user is Salman, password is 12345. okay, let me just open. You can see here this is order, so order is already changed, so this is done. Order status means status is already changed here. Okay, this is done. So we have completed our whole application. Congratulations to all of you, and I am giving the link of this project in the description and the assets link. You can follow this and give me a beautiful comment if you like this video. Okay, this was the project of our grocery store, which is our e-commerce store. Okay, so see you in the next project. Take care.